Hello again, dear viewer, and welcome back to a little bit more That Risk of Rain 2. We're on the home stretch. Multi is the next character up, and we've got 7 more episodes to go after this. So, today I'll be doing a little bit of Multi, sort of showcasing all of the characters for one last time before we head out to greener pastures here. Oh my god, the movement speed. It's the reason I never played Multi before, was just that the movement speed was so slow. And I still feel that, even to this day. Even though I'm a lot more amicable towards Multi these days. I've learned a lot more about how to use them. Learned a lot. They did also get buffed in ways that made them much easier for me to understand, but not evidently easy enough that I can just kind of stand in front of all of these flaming guys. Okay, listen. Dying in the first 30 seconds of a Monsoon game, it's embarrassing. I'm just gonna say that out front. But, it's part of the process. You know, even the best of us. Sometimes, you do something dumb, and you stand in front of a deadly enemy on floor 1, and you just eat shit. And that's just how the world works, you know? Sometimes you press shift instead of control and launch yourself off a cliff. The world is a very big place, you know? Okay, I am going to get those crit glasses now. God, I feel so slow. I feel so slow. Okay. Crits. One of the main advantages of Multi is that their damage is pretty incredible on these larger targets, just because the nail gun is so ridiculous. So when we get to the first floor boss, especially with these crits, we will probably be doing pretty well. I think I'm going to take a sticky bomb as well. Okay, there's a secondary mag in that printer, which I'm not too interested in. Multi's secondary fire is very strong, this grenade. Surprisingly so, as a matter of fact. But it's not something that I would sacrifice an item for, especially not at this point in the run. Stun bomb isn't that important at this point. Alright, I'm going to take the anti-armor rounds for even better boss DPS, and we are about 2/3 of the way through our time here on the first floor. Ooh, bleed. Bleed is very, very strong. If we can get crit, anti-armor, and bleed, we'll be in a pretty good spot coming out of this first floor. Another anti-armor. I think we activate the teleporter and just remember we get the bleed. Famous last words, I know. I never do that. But yep, remember that you can ram into things with your shift, and it can do a good chunk of damage. I'm dead. I knew it. I knew I was dead. From the moment I took that first stone golem laser, I'm like, oh, I might be dead. But I only expected one stone golem to be there, so I took my chances. God, that was a really strong run. Well, had the potential to be one, anyway. We were most of the way through the Beetle Queen already. I just took a bunch of dumb damage. And that's sort of the thing with Multi, I guess, is taking dumb damage on Multi is something that is much less punished. Like, you have a lot of HP, and your base armor value is also slightly higher than usual. So Multi can take a lot of hits, but that just means I'm more predisposed to just standing in the middle of a big group of enemies and wailing on things. And when you're in the first floor, that is a much less effective strategy. This is also my first run of the day. I haven't done any warm-ups or anything, so... Well, first with an asterisk. I turned on the camera, said hello, and then started playing for the first time today, so... You know, the little bit of rust that accumulates over the course of 24 hours, you do have to shake that off. I think effective use of the stun grenade is something that I need to work on. Yeah, like, I have a lot of experience with this game, but if we're being honest, literally all, like, most of it is on Artificer. Artificer is, like, my favorite character, even though they're really, really hard and almost impossible to clear with sometimes. I just love... I love the way that Artificer feels as a wizard, you know? I've been reading a book lately about the creation of Doom from 1994, like the DOS game. You know the one. Doom. The first one. And it makes me want to make a game, you know? I want to make, like, a fun wizard game. Like, I always enjoy playing wizards and things, but, like, the closest the game has ever really come to, like, having a properly cool magic system for me, other than, like, cool in concept but not in execution ones, like, old-ass game Arx Fatalis has a system where you draw magic runes on the screen in order to cast your spells, and I think that's really cool from a design standpoint, but the detection, that's the word. The detection of it has to be really good, or you get really frustrated. And I don't think that's a very easy thing to make detect well, or like make feel good, even if you could get the detection right. But either way, the closest I've ever come to having like a really, really properly cool spell system that I felt like I could experiment with, but I also didn't feel like it was super clunky, was like Magicka. You know, like the top-down wizard game and its sequel. Although I felt like Magicka 1 was a little better for various small reasons. But either way, I thought that magic system was dope as hell. It was really easy to experiment with, you could use it on the fly. And it all made intuitive sense. Okay, this is a really weird run. 2 topaz brooches right off the start was not what I was expecting. But the 2 tri-tip daggers afterwards is quite a boon. Where is this teleporter? We are officially behind pace, so we need to be looking for it. Equipment, we can take 2 of them, so we might as well. It's not up here either? Where is this damn teleporter? Oh, it's right down there. I just walked past it a little while ago. Okay, well, I have enough money for the small chest, so I might as well get it. And I'm really running up on my time limit here. But I think the extra item will help. Oh god, shield generator was probably not worth the time we put into that, if we're being totally honest. Okay, Stone Titan, no big deal. He's in a really good spawn point, too. There's a ton of random debris just around there. And I think we will be able to sort of wedge ourselves. Oh, we want to leverage all the extra bleeds we got. Okay. Now, don't budge it, and we'll be fine. I love Monsoon. The enemy density on Monsoon is just so crazy. Get the little turret so we can distract the enemies a little bit at the very least. I'm just being careful. I'm just jumping and shooting. Oh my god. I cannot believe how many times I missed that Lemurian. The spread pattern on the nail gun is actually consistent. You can see it sort of go around, but it's just, I just perfectly tracked around Lemurian. Alright. We have officially made it to the second floor. That's progress. What is in this printer? More topaz brooch? 30% chance to crit, huh? Or not crit, bleed. How much do these cost? 66! Oof. Oh, and it's wetland aspect, of course. So, we have to be on our toes. Trying to find this telly. So stuffy in here. That's the price we pay for good sound quality, I suppose. Oh, Red Whip is nice. Any movement? Please. Thank you. Thank you for all of the movement. Thank you for different movement items. Okay, Leeching Seed is actually really good for us. The nail gun is one of the better things to use Leeching Seed with. Oh my lord, look at this DPS! Look at that deeps! Look at this fatty DPS, bro! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god! Okay. I think this run has some potential. I have a hunch that this run might be actually pretty sweet. Getting 2 daggers on the first floor was a pretty big deal. And like, if multi can get going, their natural strength is a weakness of a lot of other characters, which is their health pool. And like, their mobility, they're more mobile than Artificer, all things considered. Unless you take, like, Artificer's alternate R, which you shouldn't, because it's just worse. In my opinion. I understand the merits of having Artificer's big old jump, you know, being able to get out of trouble. But I think that the damage you deal is much more important, and you can get out of trouble in craftier ways. But like, if you really have problems with the first floor as Artificer, the Ion Surge can really help with that. I just think that in the long run, the flamethrower is so strong that you just have to take it. But either way, we sort of had to rush through floor 2 there to make up some time. Fresh meat is not the print we're going for right now. We only have 1 lunar coin, so the only option we would have would be to go to the void. Small chest cost 104. Okay. Got this whole end here. Just snipe this. Oh, am I falling? No, I'm not. I'm smart. Now I fall on purpose. Haha! And now I'm close enough that I can use my real gun. Not to say the Rework Puncher is a fake gun, it just doesn't do a ton of damage to that enemy class. If I was using it to deal with these imps, you know, that does a good chunk, but if it was the Beetle Guard, that would be a different story. We're really sort of about our small damage right now. Stacking up a lot of stacks of bleed and all that, and the Rebar Puncher is not quite facilitating that in the way that we were looking for. Okay, 208 for this big chest. Yeah, now we're starting to schmoo. We got like 1 of each movement item. We got a Red Whip, a leg, and an energy drink. And we're schmooving. We've got a nice solid bit of movement speed under us. Got wedged in a corner there. there's nothing over there. Okay. You know, I was not really thinking there about how the skill actually worked. I just thought, oh, throw explosive over my head and it will rain down on them. It's not how that works. These wisps out of here. Okay, teleporters are right here. Equipment drone. I don't think the equipment drone is the play. Another predatory instincts with no crits. Oh, well there's some crits. Watch, 3, 2, 1 crits. No, another Monster Tooth. Monster Tooth's good though. Totally fine with Monster Tooth. Did we open the big chest down here? No. It's not a red. It is razor wire, which we can make some decent use of with our big health pool, at the very least. In fact, Hellfire Tincture is now an option. Well, it's an option in as much as we could RNG into it, unless we get more lunar coins, of course. Oh, come on. Wish that shot bled. Bled is an odd word. You know, the past tense of bleeding. Bled. Like, if you just isolate it, the phonemes there, bled. It sounds like it's like melting in your mouth. But not in the good way. It's like in a very awkward kind of way. There's a lot of words that are like that if you think about it, really. I can't, like, not a lot of them come to mind at the moment, but I know moist. Moist is one that a lot of people are not a fan of. There's quite a few words in the English language that are just do not sound pleasant if you isolate them. And there's a lot of words that, like, come from different languages, and we've, like, butchered in some way. It's very interesting. The way that, you know, people like to think about culture in a vacuum, you know, like American culture, Canadian culture, you know, Western culture, or whatever. That's all, like, predominantly... See, I don't know, like, Nazis have ruined Western for me as a term, because it's a dog whistle for them, for a bunch of different shit. But, you know, like, that's from a sort of Western perspective. There's a lot of, you know, people like to think about that in a vacuum, but, like, you know, Japan got so much from the Dutch, of all people, and we don't really associate Japan with the Dutch. Like, okay, Dutch people are from the Netherlands, right? I am actually not solid on that. That might be a little bit ignorant of me to say, but I think Dutch people come from the Netherlands. I don't know. But that whole area, like, we talk about ancient Europe and, like, ancient Greece and whatever as if they were cohesive units. But, like, for the vast majority of human history, the organization of humanity was just sort of whoever had the biggest stick owned the land that they could get, you know? And that's why there were so many, like, wars over, like, territory and stuff, just because we didn't have an idea of how to cooperate. And I don't know. I think some of the things that are odd about our modern society can be traced back to that being a lot more recent than we think it is. You know, like for a lot of you know, ancient Greece. Ancient Greece is a perfect example because like we think about ancient Greece as a singular entity with its with all of the bunch of factions. But it was really a bunch of separate entities that happened to be on the same landmass, which we now call Greece, you know? Like, the Athenians and the Spartans had completely different cultures from, like, the Minoans, you know? And, we don't really think about it that way. We just sort of think about Athens and Sparta as if they were the same place. But like I doubt that anyone in either place really knew anyone from the other, unless it was through diplomacy or war, you know? It was really hard to get places. Most of Greece is mountains, you know? Most of Japan is mountains. Before the advent of the, like, motorized vehicles, like the cars and everything, it was really, really hard to get from one place to another. So, you were a lot more isolated, you know? But the world's not like that anymore. There's, you know, call me a radical if you want, but, like, borders don't have as many reasons to have to exist anymore, you know? I genuinely think that it doesn't matter as much. Like, I understand from a cultural perspective, that there are differences there, and the history of all of these different places is so radically different. But the distance between places, relatively speaking, from a metaphorical sense, has just become so much smaller, you know? It's like, Americans can talk to Americans on the other coast, and for, like, you know, that's almost across an entire continent, you know? That's like talking to two different European countries, you know? And that wasn't something we really had the opportunity to do before, at least in such an open and, like, free way. You know, you could do business calls to, like, Australia and stuff, but you couldn't really just, like, you know, ring up your friend in Australia and, like, send them a DM on Twitter, you know? You had to, like, send a letter or make a phone call or something. It was a lot more of a formal engagement. But now you can sort of engage with the whole world whenever you feel like it, you know? And I think that is amazing, but it's also one of the things that has changed the way we see the world the most, and one of the things that's going to change the way we see the world going forward the most. And I don't know, this has gotten, like, a bit lecture-y, but, like, I don't know, just kind of thinking out loud. If you guys have thoughts on it that you think are worth talking about, then feel free to put them down in the comments. I'll probably reply to them if I think it's interesting. But I don't know, I just kind of, I don't really know anything. I just, like, I know a very small amount about a lot of things, and I'm pretty good at linking concepts together. I don't consider myself to be very smart. I was not good in school, arguably still aren't. And, you know, I've mentioned this before, but intelligence is not a flat spectrum. It's really not. Different people think about things in different ways, and you can't necessarily put that on a sliding scale. You know, you can judge it according to your values, how many people are harmed, how much, you know, happiness is generated as a result, and things like that. And that's valid. That's not an invalid way to think through things. But everything is relative, you know? The values that you hold are not necessarily the values of someone in a different culture or a different time, or even a different place within the same country might hold. You know, the American South is very different from the Pacific Northwest, for example. I don't know. People like to talk about intelligence a lot, and I don't think it really matters that much. Intelligence is something we made up, you know? And, there's something to be said for sort of a more, like, I don't know. What was I even saying? God, I'm so all over the place today. I lost 2 runs on the first floor, and then I got on this weird-ass topic of how the internet changes the way we interact with the world, and how the scale of the world has expanded so greatly in the last decade or so. Because, like, you know, the internet has been around since, like, the 90s? No, not the 90s. Way before the 90s. Like, the earliest form of the internet, I think, was in, like, the late 70s? I don't know. I don't know when DARPANET came out, but that's, like, the earliest form of the internet where like, DARPA was using it to communicate with each other. And then that evolved into, like, BBSs, and then, like, everything else from there. But either way, like, the base form of the internet has been around since, at the very least, the 80s, probably the late 70s. And, but, like, we really didn't embrace the internet as a culture, like a full culture, at least in the Americas, until the iPhone dropped, until the iPhone came out. And then we, like, everyone was on Facebook. Everyone was on Twitter and all that stuff. You know, we moved sort of away from the forum blogger-verse into the social media sphere. You know, and that's a very fundamental shift in the way we communicate with each other. At least over the internet, but in general, because that latter half has most of the people in America in it, at least as far as I'm aware. Ooh, Aegis, very, very solid item. Put those monster teeth to good use. And those topaz brooches as well. Adding a little extra barrier to my barrier, so we can have more barrier. And look at our HP, we have so much HP. We have like 1,000 HP right now. Gorstone. I think we need to leave. Like right now. Look pretty strong. We could use some more knives. We're less than halfway to full bleed. But, you know, we still have enough knives to get along, you know. As long as we can apply a bleed consistently before the last bleed goes away, it doesn't matter as much. It just matters that we're able to keep our aim going on them. Did I see that? Have we seen the teleporter this whole time? I don't think we've seen the teleporter. Okay, that cave isn't open. Yeah, let's roll on another equipment. The cube. Very good choice. Ah, okay, there we go. There's the teleporter. That's the word. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's a, like, you could write an entire, oh Jesus. You could write an entire, like, dissertation on just the way that social media impacted political discourse. You know, like, let alone the rest of it. You know, how we consume media, how we talk about media, how we analyze media, you know. I've seen videos about, like, for example, CinemaSin's impact on movie criticism and things like that. You know, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's always a negative impact, it just means it's always change. You know, change is not always a bad thing. It's something that inevitably happens regardless of whether you want it to or not. The best thing you can do for the world is to try and facilitate the kind of change you want to see. You know, direct action and all that, go vote and stuff. If you are, of course, in a country that holds democratic elections, you should be voting whenever possible, because it's in your best interest. Politics is everything, even if you move, you know? I'm sure a lot of Americans are feeling that too. All of a sudden, our guy got in, and all of a sudden, the rest of the world was like, hey, wait a minute, maybe that wasn't such a bad idea when they did it. And, oops. But this is veering dangerously close to being political commentary right now. And trust me, I don't care. If you have a different political opinion than mine, I really don't want to know. I don't care. I won't talk to you about it. I really don't care. You can be an internet guy with an opinion all your own. I really am not in for that. So, you know, whether you're a radical communist or an ANCAP or a libertarian or a fucking socialist or whatever, bro, just chill. Just calm down. Like, you know, there's a lot of scary shit going on, but just fucking chill. You don't need to yell at me about it. Go yell at your representatives about it instead, the people who can actually change anything. I'm just some nerd who plays games for the internet for 7 subscribers. Like, you're really... I don't know. People are really weird on the internet. I don't understand the thought process to go to, like, talk shit to someone you don't even know. You know? Like, especially in a genuinely mean way. Like, I'll rib randoms online. Like, I play Final Fantasy XIV. Well, I've played it for a fucking long time. Like, oh my god, long time. I should not even tell you kind of how long time. And, you know, most people, if we're being honest, most random people in Final Fantasy XIV are not good at the game. They just don't know how to play, because the game has never taught them how to play. And that's fine. You know, I'll talk shit, but I won't, like, go and chat and call them a slur. There's, like, a line there, you know, between, like, having fun, talking shit, and, like, being mean on purpose to someone, you know? And, you know, that's something you need to be careful about, is, like, how much of your enjoyment comes from the pain of other people, you know? Because if you're not careful, you know, no matter how friendly it is, you start becoming a bully, you know? Just by virtue of the association of other people's pain with your own pleasure. You know, you start sort of getting in that headspace, you know? And that's fine. It's fine in moderation. You know, I've been playing a lot of Among Us lately, and Among Us is all about being a dickhead to your friends on purpose. But it's only like, it's in the context of the game, and it's all in good fun, and at the end of the round you get to be friends again. You know, when you're constantly, like, ribbing each other, you know, this is a common trait of typically male friendships, you know? And it's not necessarily even a bad one, you know? But, like, just insulting your friends arbitrarily, you know, especially if it's all the time, you'll start believing it eventually, you know? And that's like, I try when I can not to call myself stupid, you know, like I'll use silly instead. It's like close enough, it means the same thing, but it's less mean, you know? And I feel like I'm better off for it, you know? I feel like I've been a lot more confident in myself since then. So, like, I don't know, keep track, you know? Try and keep track of how much meanness is sort of seeped into your life without really thinking about it. And check yourself, you know? You don't have to eliminate it all from your life right now, but just check yourself, you know? Try and make an active effort to be nice, you know? And that's all you really need. If you make an effort to be nice, and you do your best, and someone else takes it the wrong way or doesn't understand it, that's not exactly something that you can fault on yourself. That's something that you guys would have to work through together. Sort of understand where the miscommunication was, and how you can communicate that better down the line. Or, you know, you can just leave. That's also valid. There's nothing wrong with cutting someone out of your life, necessarily. You know, especially if you put a lot of effort into trying to fix the problems you've been having already. You know, there's no harm in doing it. As long as you don't literally harm someone by virtue of doing it, or on the way to do it. But, you know, boundaries are important, regardless of what kind of relationship it is. Whether that's a working relationship with your boss, whether that's a romantic relationship with a partner, or even just a friendship, you know? Like, a friendship is a relationship just like any other. And it's, you know, any relationship needs to be maintained in some way. Oh my god, really? 2 equipments. Ooh, I do like disposable missiles. I think I'll take disposable missiles over Samarang. They're a little more consistent. I mean, do I just want to go for Mithrix? I think I do. I think I can go for Mithrix this run. It'd be crazy to get a multi-clear. I don't think I've done that yet. Like, period. Not even just on camera. Multi is really strong with bleed. Like, the new bleed changes help multi out so much. Oh my god! Okay, well, it's Frost Relic. The oh my god has been rescinded. Frost Relic is an okay. It's quite a far fly from the best red. But it's not the worst one. I'd say that Head Stomper is probably the worst individual red right now, but it's still pretty close with the Interstellar Desk Plant. If the Desk Plant didn't save me so many times, I would probably say that was the worst one, but the Desk Plant has its merits. It has its moments. It's really good with Happiest Mask, strangely enough. Happiest Mask and, like, enough fungus, obviously. And then, like, the Squid Polyp also has the synergy there. Because with the Squid Polyp and the Happiest Mask, the duration is based on a draining health bar rather than a literal duration. And when you have healing, that will yield a health bar, of course. So that'll increase the duration dramatically if you can get enough desk plants on the floor, or you have a big enough fungus or whatever. I had an engineer run where I got like 100 fungus. I went ages and ages and ages, and I got like 100 fungus. and a Happiest Mask was in there somewhere, and I literally just had an army of ghosts. It was really fun. Oh my god. Okay. I need to get out of here. I've just kind of been fighting guys, because it's really easy to just hold down the nail gun and hit things with it. What is the item protruding out of my left side there? No, it's not shield. Oh, that must be Frost Relic? Is Frost Relic floating behind me? Because it usually does that. No, I don't think so. It might be Frost Relic? I really don't know. Gamers, if you know what this, like, weird protrusion is coming out of the left leg, hit me up. Because, it's stumping me so far. Oh, we've seen the teleporter already. It's here somewhere. Might as well let loose a salvo of rockets. Ah, here we go. So yeah, let's take a shot at Mithrix. And you know what? I think an equipment drone can take the key. I think that's a good idea. Oh my god! Jesus, we're really getting the shaft on the rolls for the Ports of Many, aren't we? Oh no. Yeah. Yep. Yep. You know, when you see overloading brass contraptions, that's when you know you've done it. Alright. Well, that was a really solid run, considering that every other run we died on the first floor. That was really, really solid. And you know... Ugh, stretching. Ugh. You know, that's how Monsoon is sometimes. Sometimes you die just right on the first floor. You get absolutely rocked by either your own hubris or by the first floor boss or whatever. And then sometimes you have like really sicko runs that'll like almost get to Mithrix or will beat Mithrix. And that's really cool. And that's, you know, why you keep playing, is hoping to get that like sicko run that really goes off really quickly. Like getting a big ass red on the first floor or whatever. But either way, if my gameplay and or commentary improved today even just that little bit, I would very much appreciate it if you use the avenues YouTube has given you to tell me that I'm doing a good job. That would be the like, comment, and subscribe buttons if you were curious. Make sure to give your pets a lot of extra love for me today, and I will see you next time.